All right, guys. So I was going through some of my older sales calls and I found one that I think would be really valuable to you guys. And I make a ton of content on this channel about how to make money online and how to get started with remote sales so that you can make your first 5 to 10K per month. But a lot of you guys aren't even fully aware of what do you do when you land a position in remote sales and what do you actually do in remote sales. And so I'm going to be breaking down one of my sales calls that I took while I was in remote sales that I closed the person for $4,000. And to be honest with you, this video wasn't even the best call in the world. In reality, I had a good amount of mistakes, but it just goes to show how doable this is for a beginner. And I'm going to talk about some things that most people do wrong in remote sales so that you can avoid them. So without further ado, I'm going to put my headphones in and we're going to jump straight in here. Hey, is this Zion?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
All right. Oh, there we go.
It's just Trevor here. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. I was actually just wrapping up a gym session myself.
Oh, nice. I'm about to hit it after this. So yeah.
Nice. You've been having a good week so far? I know we're like halfway through.
Yeah. Just working, kind of like figuring out online coaching launching and stuff. So yeah.
Definitely, man. Well, I know we have a limited amount of time here, so you kind of ready to just jump straight in?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Okay, cool. And you have something to kind of take notes with here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sick.
Okay, so what I did here is I took control of the call right away. So you want to start off with just a little bit of basic introduction and rapport. Like you don't want to just get into the sales script right away to where you're starting to sell them. Like that's dumb. But you don't want to go too hard on rapport. And I see people make this mistake all the time. Like when I've reviewed people's sales calls, is they spend the first 2, 3, 5 minutes building rapport with people, talking about where they're from, what the weather is like down there. When in reality, nobody's going to buy from you because they live in the same state as you or the same country as you. And nobody's going to buy from you because you like know where they're from. Like, no. People are going to buy from you because you can solve the pain that they're in. And so you should spend time in rapport, but you shouldn't spend too much time. And so what I usually do is I just lead the call with saying like, hey, is this John or whatever their name is? Then they'll be like, yep. Then I'll be like, hey, it's just Trevor here from XYZ company. What's up? And then we'll talk back and forth about something. Yeah, I was just wrapping up a gym session, blah, blah, blah. And I know for this call, we kind of got a limited amount of time here. So you kind of ready to just jump straight in. Boom. Now you've taken control. And then what you want to do, and I'm about to do this here in a second, but we have to frame the call. So the person has to understand what they're going to be getting as this call progresses. So let's see what we do. Sick. So instead of me just going through a laundry list of every little thing that we could do and be on here for the next 2 to 3 hours, what'll probably be a little bit more appropriate is I'm just going to kind of continue the conversation that you were having with Alex of like where you're at right now, where you want to get to, some of the things that you feel might be holding, you back. And then if I feel like we can genuinely help you out, I'll kind of walk you through what that looks like and how it kind of works. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the frame of the call. Instead of me just going through a laundry list of every little thing that we could help you out with over the next couple hours here, instead, let me ask you some questions, get a good idea of where you're at right now and where you want to get to, and then if it makes sense, I'll run you through what we do and how we can help you specifically. When you do this, people are willing to open up because they understand that instead of me just going on a riff of what my offer is and what the price is, that I'm trying to genuinely help this person and I'm going to give him advice and feedback, and I'm going to kind of create a program later on based on what he tells me in this conversation. And so then people are usually much more willing to answer questions and deep questions at that because you frame the call the right way. And so now we're going to get into point A. So my objective here is to build a pretty good idea of where this person is at, where they want to get to, some of the things that they feel like might be holding them back from getting to this point B. And then on top of that as well as stretch this gap out as much as I can. So we're going to do this by asking the right questions.
That's cool with me.
Okay, sick. So let's just start from the top then. What was it about Alex's content that made you want to jump on a call here?
So I've actually been kind of like following Alex for about 2 years since like he first started and everything. And kind of the past year, I've gotten to a point where I wanted to launch a business, but like I have all the tools I need necessary. I just don't know how to like build the system I need to get clients.
Mhm.
And I saw the success he was having with coaches, so I was willing to give that a try, kind of figure
Definitely, man.
things out.
Definitely. So you've been following Alex for 2 years.
Yep.
When you were first following him, do you even know what he was like offering back then?
I mean, he was just trying to like start building his agency.
Yeah,
It
we were
was
doing more
more
of like
like,
a we were doing. I think we were doing more of like a content agency back
yeah,
then.
yeah, that's what it was. It was he was focusing more on like just building his page to get towards that agency, so
Yeah,
it's more content creation stuff. But yeah, it was cool seeing his journey to where he is now. So
definitely, definitely, definitely. And I know you're looking to build a system to get online clients. Just out of curiosity, and we can kind of dive into that in a second. Do you do any in-person coaching at all? Okay, so this person gave me context before the call based on the DM conversation that was had that they were a fitness coach or they were looking to start a fitness coaching business, rather. So I kind of knew that. But basically, if you caught it there, I said something like, well, I was just looking at our conversation prior to the call. I guess what was it about our content that made you want to jump on a call here? Like, why are we here? And this is incredibly important because he goes on a tangent about he wants to launch a business, but he doesn't know how to get clients. He's been seeing the results that we've been getting people and things like that. And these are all critical data points. And so then he says he doesn't know how to get clients. Then I'm trying to get a background because he's struggling or he doesn't know how to get online clients. I'm trying to get a background of what he's currently doing in person or like when it comes to 9 to 5 job and things like that and things like that.
so I've actually started I started my personal trainer certification with NASM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna finish that. Just on my free time, I train like other people with just the knowledge that I have because like
Yeah.
I've been training for easily over 10 years. I just don't have like the necessary cert, but
Right.
honestly, with my results and stuff, I've gotten good testimonials and yeah, it's been
It's like
working.
it's
So
like applying for a job interview when you know like your experience, but you don't have like a college degree.
exactly, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah. That's sick though. Um, so online coaching, I mean, logically it makes more sense, right? Like you can work from home, you can also make more money and not have to charge, per hour or per session, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you thought of what you want your like online offer to look like?
So I was looking, trying to make it more specific, like you guys said on the videos and stuff. Uh, I was looking at possibly helping dads working 9 to 5s lose their body fat and help build muscle because I know they have like a lot of them have problems with getting on a consistent program because they're busy in their everyday life. So making it easier for them to build muscle and achieve their dream physique, basically. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. And if you were to go after that demographic of the dads that are, working full time, um, do you have like a really good understanding of that, section of the market?
Yeah. I've worked with a couple of my friends' dads do that, so I kind of know.
So here we're not necessarily asking questions that's going to draw out a ton of pain. Here I'm just trying to get a background on like where his head's at with everything. So these questions are a little bit more industry specific, um, but still valuable for an offer like ours.
Their schedule and kind of what works for them to lose weight and start to build muscle. Yeah, I've made programs for them, check-ins time to time. So I kind of,
Perfect.
yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. And I know for you, you have an account that has a couple thousand followers right now. Have you attempted to like monetize that and try to like sell coaching to them at all or not yet?
that's no, I haven't done that. The only thing like, so I have several channels with, I have one channel with 43,000 on TikTok. I have another channel different with like self-improvement stuff with 20K now. It's just a matter of building a product. Like I know what to do. It's just, you got to hit the action button at some point, and that's where I'm at right now, making it monetizable. So
Yeah. Do
yeah,
you think maybe by like working with a coach or a mentor, like it'll kind of like force you almost to take action and get out there
exactly.
more? Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I kind of did like a little technique where I basically preemptively sold him. This was pretty early in the conversation, but it still makes sense because he was mentioning the fact that like he has all the tools and he has all of the possibilities to do it. And so a logical question off of the back of that is then why not just go do it? And the issue that he's seeming to have is that he just needs like a little bit of a kicker and some sort of like accountability to start actually going through the process because he could probably see results on his own. But if he were to invest into a coaching program and take it serious, it's going to give him that kick in the ass that he needs to get it going. I mean, because that's kind of how it is with fitness, right? Like, once you put down that commitment of working with a fitness coach, you're more likely to show up. And then as a byproduct of that, you actually start to get results.
Yeah. Yep.
Just for you though, have you ever tried anything? I know you've done content, obviously. Have you ever tried anything in relation to ads at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been researching that a little bit. That's what I think I first asked Alex about is ads because I've seen a couple of different ads about fitness coaching just around the area.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious about that, and that's what kind of led me to follow him. Because I know that's a huge part of getting clients. So kind
Yeah.
of wanted to learn more about that.
Yeah, definitely. And I can break that down in a second here. Just for you though, if you were able to get things up and running, let's say you have an offer in place that you're starting to sell to the channels that you have and you're starting to run ads, etc. Where would you want to be at in the business just in general? Like how much money do you want to be making? What do you want your day to look like? Maybe in the next, I don't know, 4 months or so.
Next 4 months, my aim is to get to about 2 to 4K a month on top of my full-time job. So I'll get home from work, work on the business about probably 5 to 7 hours of working with clients and selling. But yeah, so kind of a split until I'm able to transition to coaching full time.
Yeah, yeah. And what would that
Because
look like for you in terms of like how much money you would have to make with coaching in order to want to get out of the
I
9 to 5?
definitely anywhere from 10 to 15K.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think like if you want to set like a really low goal, I think 2 to 4K per month in the next couple months is really, really attainable. But
Yeah,
we've even had clients come in and get closer to like the 10 to 15K in the next 4 months or so. So that's definitely also attainable. I'm sure for you, this is the case though. Like you don't want to set like a crazy goal. You want to kind of hit the 2 to 4K and then kind of build off of that.
exactly.
Okay, so here I'm just basically getting an idea of what he basically wants his life to look like. So he obviously mentioned earlier that he wants to launch the business. And then I asked him like, hey, what's like the monetary goal? Like where do you want to be at inside of the business in the next couple months here? He said 2 to 4K per month in the next 4-ish months. And it's like, this is a good goal, but for the offer that we were selling where we're kind of like helping people scale quickly and it's a little bit more aggressive and it's high ticket, like I'm trying to build a bigger goal than that. I don't want him to be limited to that. And I just want him to think a little bit bigger. And so he also mentioned that he's going to be working his 9 to 5 job and then he would want to be pulling this in on top of that. So that kind of makes more sense. And then also after work, he's going to be working for about 4 to 5 hours. And then his goal, and this is why I asked him, is like, how much money would you need to be making for you to want to step back from what you're doing in person and quit the job? And that's 10K per month. And then I'm like, okay, so the 2 to 4K per month is definitely a more realistic goal, and you can 100% do that. The 10K per month is also doable, but it's going to be a little bit tougher. And then I kind of like reassured him, like I get where he's coming from with this, but we want him to almost like think more of attaining this goal because it's bigger. And then when you get people to think bigger and set bigger goals, what is that doing? Well, effectively it's stretching the gap from where they are now to where they want to get to. And when that gap is big enough, they'll want to buy expensive things to solve that gap.
Yep.
Yeah. And what are you doing for work right now? 9 to 5.
So I just got my license for physical therapy assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually actively interviewing and applying for jobs. So I'm going to be doing that until I can eventually have coaching overtake that. So it's more of like I know it's going to happen at some point. It's just building enough income to where it can take that place, if you know what I mean.
I see. Yeah, for sure. And can I ask you more of like a personal question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because obviously you saw in the videos, like not only is it important for us to get you to a place where you're making more money inside of your business. So this right here, and I paused it a little bit early, but this is a perfect example of building the gap. And I referred to that earlier. So we take the goal that they have and we want to make it emotional. We want to make it more vivid because that's going to stretch that gap. And so this is what I'm doing by asking this question. Oh. Personal question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because obviously you saw in the videos, like not only is it important for us to get you to a place where you're making more money inside of your business, doing all that fun stuff, getting clients, etc., but also building a business that empowers you to live the life you want to outside of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for you, when you think of what you want your life to look like, what are maybe some of the non-monetary, almost like personal goals? Because those to us are just as important as like the 10, 15K per month.
So are you saying so you're saying basically everyday life goals outside of money, kind of?
Yeah, like what's the purpose behind wanting to grow the fitness coaching business to like 10 to 15K per month outside of just like making money?
Well, I want to live like a kind of financially free, not tied down to a 9 to 5. Eventually, I want to build more of a agency coaching business where I can help other fitness coaches monetize again. And basically, I just want to travel and be able to connect with other people to be able to continue to grow. Pretty much, yeah.
Love it. Love it. And the agency going after fitness coaches, is that like a long term plan you have? Because I think that's a really good offer.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of throughout a lot of niches, just people transitioning to agencies once they've done coaching, and
Yeah.
it seems like a good business model to move to.
So you think like get to like 10K per month in this business, and then after that you can do something like that once you kind of have like the credibility and whatnot.
Exactly, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, cool, man. That gives me a really good understanding of. So that was a little bit miscellaneous, but he basically mentioned the fact that he wants to build his fitness coaching business to 10K per month. And then he wants to start teaching other people how to build their own fitness coaching business to 10K per month, which is valid. Once you do it yourself, you have the credibility, you have the proof. But the reason why that's important is because it gets him to think even more long term. And again, that's just widening the gap. And so that's extremely valuable. Kind of where you're at right now, and also where you want to get to. And so I just mentioned this in the call, but basically now we have a pretty good idea of where he's at right now. I could have maybe asked a couple more questions around his point A, but this is good enough, I would say. And we also have a clear image of where he wants to get to and why and what's behind that, like what's driving him to want to get these goals. Now, I want to ask him questions that are a little bit outside of that, but are just as important. Things like what's important, like why change now? And so this avoids the potential issue of him saying like, "Oh, your offer sounds good. Let's try this in a month." Basically, we're solving objections before they come up by asking the questions that I'm about to ask in the next couple minutes. To me, and I'd agree with what you were saying earlier, like just getting a system that's actually going to bring in clients is kind of like the main thing. And what
Yeah.
that kind of entails is like building out an offer, setting up maybe some ads, but then also, you have a following. So like monetizing that. And then, yeah, pretty much like learning how to sell as well. Would you agree with that? That's kind of like the general thing that you're looking for and needing help with?
Yes.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, just so I can stay like 100% organized on my end, why now? Like, why not just push it down the road another 2 to 3 months like an unsuccessful fitness coach would do?
Um, I've already done that for, I would say, the past 2 years. So I know how it is. I just want a set system that I know I can perform with, basically. Like, I don't necessarily have the time I did. I wish I would have fully pursued it when I didn't have a steady job because I don't have as much time as I did. But I think putting a system into place will help me kind of just focus on where I need to focus and getting clients and giving results, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, awesome. I feel like we covered quite a bit of ground here. Is there anything at all that you feel like maybe we haven't covered that I would need to know? So here I'm doing a transition. So I actually probably should have asked a couple more consequence questions. Zion said, "Do you feel like this is the perfect time to commit to yourself about finally making a change instead of procrastinating for another couple of years?" So, something like that. Or even a question around something like, what got you interested in specifically working with us rather than going out and working with all the other coaches that teach, how to make money online or how to grow your business, etc. But overall, like this is the bare minimum, and this is good enough. Again, I could have probably went more in depth, but this will get the job done. Now I'm trying to transition. So now we have a good idea of where he's at right now, where he wants to get to, and then the consequence of him just like putting it off further. So now we basically want to transition from asking all these questions to now talking about what we do and how we can help. And so the best way to do this is like, hey, well, based on everything we talked about here, Zion, I know for sure we can help you out. Now, before I go in and share with you what that is, what is it that you believe we do? And usually I try to like quiz people on and kind of get a gauge of how much content that they've seen from us before the call took place.
Um,
Around here, is there anything at all that you feel like maybe we haven't covered that I would need to know?
so you said you were going to go over like what all the coaching that you guys provide with your program, right?
Yeah, I can break that all down here.
Gotcha. And how many coaches do you guys work with? Like, how much has your agency grown?
Um, well, I've been working with Alex for like 3.5 years now, so I've been with him since the very beginning. I'm trying to think. I don't know exactly when you were like paying attention to us and following us, but we obviously weren't pulling in the numbers that we are now.
Mhm.
I think 2 years ago we were doing between like 10 to 20K per month, which it's not half bad, but also like we had expenses and we had to split that because we're a 50-50 partnership.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's not that pretty or that great. Now we're doing between 50 to 60K every single month. So like a little bit more flexibility there, which is nice. And as it currently stands, like active clients we're working with, um, it's right around 30 to 35.
Okay.
And I'd say probably half of those people are in the fitness space. So
Gotcha.
yeah, man. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen here and I can kind of break down. I mean, you should already be pretty familiar with kind of like what we do
Mhm.
based off of the videos you watched.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't quiz this guy, but it's all good. I'm just like, now I'm going to basically go in and show him what we do and how we can help him in that transition. Uh, it worked fine. But I'll kind of give you like a recap. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, sick. So pretty much like this is what we're doing and this is what we're building for our clients. So at this point, we're mainly focusing on helping kind of like the beginner coaches, people who are pulling in between 0 and like 5K per month, scale to the 10 to 15K per month range. And we usually do that in like 90 to 120 days.
Okay.
Real quick, before I break this down, let me just show you a couple quick examples. And you might already be like pretty familiar with this, but you remind me a lot of Ethan, who's actually an online fitness coach. When he first started working with us, he was doing a little bit of in person, and he was
Mhm.
doing like fairly all right with that, but it was nothing like the money and the impact that he wanted. He kind of realized like the big bucks are in the online space, and you can sell like packages. Okay, I'm gonna pause here because I want to drive this point home. Basically, if you guys are getting into remote sales, whether you're going to start by doing appointment setting or doing remote closing, which is obviously what I'm doing here, um, these principles are the same. If you want to get anyone to buy anything ever, there's two things that you need in order to make that exchange, or in order to want to like for them to want to internally want to buy something, and it's pain and confidence. And so pain is usually brought up during the beginning of the conversation for the first 15 to 20 minutes of every call that I take. You're just bringing up pain. And you do this by asking questions around where they're currently at and how they're tired of their situation and what goals that they have and things like that. That is designed to bring up a certain amount of pain to where they want to work with you. Now, at this point of the conversation, we're trying to build confidence that we are the people that can actually solve the pain that he's currently in. And so there's a couple ways to do this, but the best way to do this is by number one, having a pitch that is personalized to the person you're talking to and the issues that they're facing. And then number two is having results that you've done this for people similar to the person you're talking to. And so this Zion guy is a fitness coach. We already had a case study of this guy, Ethan, that we helped take his fitness coaching business off the ground and grow it to 22K per month. And so we already knew how to do that. And so one of the smartest things that you can do is show this to the person you're talking to so that it builds confidence and the person realizes that we can help them. And so effectively for the next 10 or so minutes until I try to actually close the person and collect money, we're trying to build confidence. That's all we're trying to do. We did the pain part earlier. I could have maybe done a little bit better and built a little bit more pain, but this is good enough that this will get the job done. Now I'm trying to build confidence. I'm trying to make him realize that we are the people that can actually help him out. And you'll see, if you really think about this and you use this principle, you'll see that I do this throughout the next 10 minutes or so. Which I'll break down in a second. Ethan, though, is pretty funny. He actually first jumped on a call with me and he's like, "Hey, Trevor, this is great, but I'm actually going to try this on my own." And I was like, "Okay." So he actually tried ads on his own for a little bit, and it didn't go the best for him, to be honest. I think he tried it for like 21 days, and I think he maybe spent between like 1 to 1.5K on ads and didn't really profit anything. And then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna get started with you guys." Started with us. 7 days after that, we assisted him in scripting out 2 Instagram ads that would pretty much bring him high quality followers every single day. I'll break down why that's important in a second. And then after that, he needed a process to actually go in and monetize those followers that were coming in every day. So I showed him how to do that. We installed our 7-figure sales process into his business. And from there, like 60 days down the road, he cracked 15K per month because he's selling like 3K packages. So he only needed like 5 clients. And then another 60 days later, he actually hit 22K in one single month. And you can kind of see that picture here. Might be tough to see, but so yeah, like what we did for Ethan, the funnel we run for our business and pretty much what we'd be installing inside of your business is exactly what you see here. And there's like 3 main phases to it.
So there's like the top of the funnel with new attention and the way in which we go about acquiring new attention.
By the way, this is our pitch. Depending on the business you work with, they'll either have a pitch already that you can just follow, or you might have to create your own. But effectively, what I'm trying to do with the pitch is I'm trying to build confidence. Obviously, I just talked about that. But what I'm also trying to do is I'm also trying to destroy other enemies and throw rocks at other options and other competitors. And so you'll probably hear me say this, but I'll say something like, hey, so in phase one, we're going to be talking about how you can build a clear message and consistent traffic. And what most people do is they teach you blah, 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 blah. And here's why that doesn't work. Blah, 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 blah. What we do instead is we do ads plus organic content. And the reason why that works is blah, 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 blah. So what that ultimately means for you is blah, 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 blah. And so basically, I'm talking about here's what most people do. Here's why it sucks. Here's what we do. Here's why it's much better. And this gets people like really excited and really confident that you can help them.
Attention is a combination of reels on Instagram, TikToks I guess count too, but also ads, and we run ads specifically on Instagram. What this does is exactly why you're on this call right now, because you're gonna post an ad. Let's just say it gets you like 30 followers. You might have one or two people that are ready to buy right now. They pay you $3,000 each, and they start working with you as fitness coaching clients. Then you're gonna have other people. The other 28 that didn't buy, they're going to be sitting and watching your content over and over and over and over and over again. Some might buy in 14 days, some might buy in a month, some might buy in 2 years, some might buy in 10 years. The point is, we're putting in effort today that will make us money forever.
Yeah.
More confidence.
Right? So the way in which we do that is by pairing ads on Instagram with reels to pretty much get followers. Then we have to convert those followers into actual money. The first thing that we do to convert followers into money is we line up some cheap retargeting ads, which you've probably seen a ton of by now.
From ads. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
So yeah. Then we also have sales assets here. So if you think back to some of the stuff that we had you go through and watch prior to this.
So the advantage of this is for the same business I was selling for, we were running the same exact system that we were teaching. And so I was able to basically tell this guy how he got sold on this call. And that same exact system that brought him in, or like brought him onto the call, we're going to be installing for his business. And he's like thinking to himself, well, oh shit, like if this worked for me and if this got me interested in buying, this will work for my business when I want other people to buy from me. And so that builds even more confidence.
This call here, like those would be considered sales assets. And then we have content on Instagram and YouTube. All of this is designed for the following purpose. We want to get roughly 5 to 7 hours of content in front of somebody before pitching them an offer. Because if you're able to do this, you'll be getting on calls with people that already know what you do. They already know how you can help them. They already know that you're legit and you're credible. It's just a matter of making sure that they have the money to join your program, pretty much.
Yeah, makes sense.
All of this funnels into a quick DM conversation where people will either just straight up buy in the DMs. We've had that happen a couple times, or they'll want to jump on a quick call where you're going to sell an offer. And for fitness coaching, you can start off at minimum at like 1K and kind of progressively go up from there. Okay. Usually the highest we ever see with like fitness coaching offers is like 3 to 4K. It's kind of hard to sell higher than that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then here, like we optimize for a 1-to-7 ratio. So if you spend $1 on ads, we want to be cashing out roughly 7. This is flexible enough for us to scale. If you spend $1 and make 2 or 3, it's kind of tight and it's not very flexible, and you don't live the life that you see on social media.
Yeah.
1-to-7 though allows you to be able to take like profit that you make here, reinvest it back into ads, and get more volume in the door to pretty much just like race through the cycle. This is what Ethan did. So like first month was a little slower. I think he made like 3 or 4K, spent a little bit on ads, made still a good amount of money, like by all means. But then he actually took some of the profit that he made month 1, reinvested it back into the business. And then month 2 is a lot bigger, and he hit 15K. And then you just keep doing that process.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Does this like resonate with you?
So that's the entire pitch. Then I'm about to cover the mechanisms of how we're going to help this guy. But I want to get a good gauge that he's even interested in this before moving forward. Because if he isn't, then we have to solve some stuff first. And so I say simply like, so this is what we do here. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, I've researched like a ton of different models like this. It's just me putting it into practice and working with other people on it. That's
yeah. And I actually want to share with you like what this looks like in terms of
So this is going to build an incredible amount of confidence. So part of our pitch and why I think it works so well is because we effectively listed out all of the client failure scenarios. And so the biggest thing that these people are thinking at this point of the call is, what if this doesn't work for me? That's the only thing, that's the only real objection that they have, maybe besides like seeing the value in it versus cost. But that wasn't too common in the niche and for the price that we sold it for. The main concern that these people had is, what if it doesn't work for me specifically? And so what I actually did, and I think this was very smart that I did this, I actually went ahead and listed out all of the things that could stop somebody from seeing results with this process. And I listed them all out so that the person could see it and they could understand, yeah, if this doesn't work or if this doesn't go well, I wouldn't see results. And then I listed right next to it in the gray here how we have processes inside of our program to solve each one of these possible failure scenarios. And then what's even better is after that, to the right of this, I'll show you this in a second, but I listed out the price of these mechanisms, what it would cost the person on the other side of the phone if they were to go with a bunch of different other options. And then I added that price together, and then I showed him that ours was significantly better. So it's like you knock out 2 objections with 1 stone. So listed out client failure scenarios. Now I'm about to talk to him about that.
Us actually working with you. So I actually went out and listed like every possible failure scenario so we can show you like how we're going to help you avoid it. So the first issue that would stop you from scaling a business is like not getting enough attention and leads. So we're going to come in here with our done for you ad scripts, and we're going to help you done with you for the ads management. Weak offer and deliverables leading to low close rate. We're actually going to work with you, done with you to build out your offer. No funnel, like relying on a website. Done with you funnel build out, kind of what I shared here. Focusing on top of funnel acquisition without having a nurture sequence. This is kind of what we'd be installing here. Weak and unclear onboarding process. We have our onboarding process that we can install into your business. It's pretty simple, and it will help you onboard the clients that you get on so you can have a good relationship with them and actually help them out. Okay. Lack of marketing and sales assets. We'll help you with that. Lack of testimonials, social proof. We'll again help you with that. Lack of a filtration process. This is where we're really good, because when you're running a business like this in the very beginning, you don't want to be getting leads on the phone with you that have no money or they're not serious. So we got to filter these people out. No tracking system or acquisition. That's what we'd be installing into your business with Go High Level. No clarity on the angle and the positioning of your offer. So you're starting to lean towards working with dads, but we want to have like a specific angle that's different from what everyone else is selling to the dads so that we can stand out and not be a commodity. So I actually specifically will help you do that. Working through some like YouTube VSL stuff will help you do that. We'll actually help you help your clients too. And then weak or non-existent sales process. So we'll actually install our done with you 7-figure sales process into your business.
Okay.
Right. Pretty much what I was covering here, but kind of like you can see it tangibly listed out. One thing I want to say though, and what makes us a little bit different, is if you actually went out and tried to get these pieces like individually, like let's just say you went out and worked with an advertising agency that was just going to help you with the ad side of things and nothing else, and you did that for every other piece of the business, it would add up pretty quickly. Yeah. Like if you went out and figured out, okay, I'm going to pay this guy $500 a month to teach me how to onboard my clients. I'm going to pay this guy $500 a month to help me nurture my leads, etc. I kind of listed out the costs here. Pretty much in total to get all of this involved, it would be north of 12 grand a month that you'd be paying, plus 10% of either ad spend or revenue is what a lot of agencies charge. So that's like the first option that you could.
So now I'm doing something that most salespeople don't do for some reason, but I'm being 100% open and transparent about some of the options that he has at this point. So I'm telling him, option 1 is you could go buy each of these pieces individually that you know you need to grow your business. You can go buy them from different companies across the board. The problem with that is it's going to be more expensive and it's going to add up quickly. It's going to be north of $12,000 per month. And then option 2 is you could just try this on your own. Like you don't even need to work with a coach or an agency. The problem with that, boom, boom, boom. So then we're just like killing all of these possible competitors. I call them like sharks. We're destroying these before we get to the price of the product. And that's important because if you go to the price and then he still has all these things that he's, oh, maybe I should work with another company. Maybe I should try this on my own. Then he's going to there's going to be that doubt there and he's going to have objections and then you're going to have to try to solve them, which is going to be very tough after you go through the price. So I'm destroying these sharks and I'm destroying these other options right now.
Could go with is you could try this. The second option is like you could try this all on your own. The issue with that though is it's kind of similar to this where you'd have to test and spend thousands of dollars on ads to try to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Usually what we see for people like that is it's usually between like 15 to 20 grand before you find a winning ad. Not to mention as well all of the time involved. And at least in my opinion, time is the most valuable.
So this is what's called price anchoring. So I basically said, hey, to go with all these other options, it's going to be $12K per month. Basically, to try this on your own, you're going to have to spend 15 to 20K on ads, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time testing, which is actually true. And so you have these two options. One's 12K, one's like 15 to 20K plus time. And then he's starting to think to himself about like which option would be better. And then when I get to our product and I'm going to show him that it's $4,000, you guys already know that because of the title, he's going to be like, oh shit, yeah, this is good. And so that's building more confidence.
Valuable resource, right? So ultimately,
Yeah,
with like what you'd have to be spending and the time involved, it'd be pretty similar to this. And then like the third option is you could go with us, you could shortcut all of that, and you could get started for a fraction of this price here. So just with where your head's at and just with some of the stuff that you've seen so far, do you know which option you would want to go with?
It would definitely either be by myself or with you guys. Depending on what you guys plan on charging. I don't know if you guys do it monthly or.
So he's basically saying option 3, like option 1's done, like he's not going to do that, but he might try it on his own, assuming that like if our program's too expensive, which I guess is kind of fair. Obviously, if it's $1 million, you can't afford that. Like you can't just come up with $1 million. But to a degree, that's kind of like a BS objection, and I think I hashed that out here.
Like a one-time thing or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know different packages you guys provide.
Got it. Just so I'm like 100% clear though, because what's really important to me is alignment. Because like if you come in and work with us, Alex and I are all in on this. Like it's all we do. It's our main thing. So just so I'm 100% clear, money aside, talking about the process specifically with kind of what I broke down here. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, this is trash, get me out of here. And 10 being like, yeah, this is exactly what I need right now. Where do you feel like you fall just with the process specifically?
I would say definitely a 9 to 10.
Okay.
Because the framework is exactly what I need. So yeah, I would definitely aligns with what I'm looking for. So
awesome, man.
So there we do what's called a temperature check. So we're trying to get a gauge on what he thinks about the process before we go into the price, because obviously if he thinks it's shit, he's not going to buy. But if he thinks it's shit before we go through the price, there's a chance that we can at least recover it.
Well, cool. I guess now is the time where we can kind of break down some of the pricing and some of the other details involved. Since we're building all of this out with our clients, it actually takes like a good amount of work and supply on our end with what we're all providing. So since we're delivering all of this to our clients to make success inevitable, we actually can't do this for like thousands of people at one time, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not possible. So we actually can only onboard 3 new clients every week. And since this is true, we actually provide a conditional guarantee on top of that. And pretty much what
more confidence
it looks like is if after 120 days of working with you, we haven't scaled to $10,000 per month minimum, we'll work with you entirely for free until you get there. So that's kind of like what we got going on there. And then in terms of pricing, for the full 120 days, it's $5,000.
Now, the company that I was selling for, like, this is a little bit controversial. Some people do this and some people don't. The company that I was selling for and that I worked with my business partner, we were like testing this on and off, but essentially we did what's called like a price incentive-based pricing. So we basically said like, hey, the program's $5,000. However, if you jump in right now on this call, we'll cut it down to $4,000 for you. And so we were testing this on and off. I think at the time, though, this worked for this guy, so fair enough.
Or if you move forward today on this call, since we can only work with 3 clients and we like to work with action takers, we'd cut it down to $4,000 to get started like right away.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely afford that. Just need probably a little bit of time to think about it.
So to me, when he says I can afford that, but I just need some time to think about it, I mean, I basically know at this point for me, if somebody says something like that, I can probably get them in. The I need to think about it objection, it's usually BS. It's usually a smokescreen for something else that's more concerning to them. And that thing that's usually the thing that's more concerning to them is the fact that it might not work for them. You see, in reality, if he was 100% sure it was going to work for him and he had maximum confidence, there's nothing to think about. It's a no-brainer. You invest $4,000 and you build your business to $10K per month. Anyone would exchange that. it's like paying $4 to make 100. Would you do that? Obviously. What he's concerned about though is the fact that it might not work. And so now I'm going to spend a couple minutes trying to overcome that so that I can get him in. Most people here though, or like most novice salespeople, they like would freak out and panic here and they wouldn't know what to do. And it's because of lack of practice, which is why we have to practice.
Yeah. And for a second, let me just so I'm 100% clear. Let's pretend that money's out of the equation. Is there anything at all besides price that would stop you from moving forward today?
Not really, no.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take that I need to think about it objection and basically deter it to something else. Because in reality, the I need to think about it concept it's just like it doesn't even make sense. Whereas if he has a concern about if he's actually going to see results or if the price he's paying is actually worth it for the program, those are fair concerns. This is like an objection and this is BS. And so I'm trying to work with him to figure out what he actually means behind. Because most people just say, I need to think about it, but they actually have, like, they mean something else.
Okay. So for you, when it comes to like thinking about it, is there anything in specific that you're going to be thinking about? Is it more about like the money, more about how you're going to like fit this into your day to day?
Yeah, it's day-to-day planning, how much hours I'm gonna have to put into making the process work.
Okay, so it's seeming like, and I'll let him finish here actually first.
Yeah, basically just kind of scheduling out my day to make sure I'm hitting all the necessary components.
So to me, and this is very important. Like this is so underrated. I like when I was a beginner, I would have probably dropped the ball here, but it seems like to me, this person is actually more concerned about how he's going to fit the time that he's going to have to put into his schedule and things like that, and also like if this is going to work for him. And so when he said that though, something immediately triggered in my mind, and hopefully it did for you too, was the fact that he mentioned earlier how he was going to fit this into his schedule. And this is why you have to ask questions like this before the price, because now I can reflect back and I can kind of fizzle that out because he literally told me how he plans to fit it into his schedule earlier in the call. Now he's just a little bit uncomfortable.
To build the program while also maintaining all my other jobs and focuses.
Yeah, for sure. And I know when we were talking about earlier, when we were kind of like planning out what you want your day to look like, we kind of talked about the idea of working your full-time job in the mornings and then kind of working on this business in the nights. Yeah. So just off of like what you know right now, do you know how much roughly in terms of like time that you can commit to this so that I can see for sure if it's enough for you to actually like
See, in here, if he would have told me something different than what he said at the beginning of the call, now he's caught in a lie. And nobody wants to lie objectively. And so he's going to basically repeat back what he said earlier, and then he's going to realize that he can fit it into his schedule.
Results and whatnot.
Yeah, so I would say right now about 4 to 5 hours a day I could probably give.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like you said earlier?
Yeah, because
4 to 5 hours a day, yeah, that's really solid.
And then now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to give him reassurance that this process will work for him. And so I'm basically going to say, like, what are the biggest reasons why people fail with this? Like, I'm going to tell him the objection before he's even told it to me because I know what he's thinking at this point.
I mean, I'll tell you this, man. If you can promise me that you can commit 4 to 5 hours per day inside of the business, and then also if you can promise me that if you run into a small hurdle in the process of like running this business and growing this thing, that you won't like bury your head in the sand and not reach out to us for help, I mean, you'll get results, no doubt in my mind. Like with that time, and then if you can also promise me that you're not just going to bury your head in the sand,
yeah,
you'll be.
I wouldn't do that. So it says 5,000 for 120 days.
Yep. So for the full 4 months of coaching, pretty much installing all of this into your business, it's $5,000.
Okay. And today it would be 4,000.
Yeah, if you jump in like right now, it would be okay.
Yeah, that's a good offer.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like the reason that we have this, it's not to, try and be like weird or annoying about it, but it's just for us. Sure. Like in this community, it's a lot of like younger men.
Yeah.
And those are kind of the people that we want to work with that are like action takers and like
are
seriously committed. So we kind of incentivize them to jump in if you're one of those people that is willing to take action.
Okay. Yeah, definitely think. I'm about 80% sure I'll do it today. If not, I'm definitely.
So you said about 80% sure I'm going to do this today. So it's like he went from being, I need to think about it, to like, I'm almost there. He's basically giving me all the signals that I just need to keep going, and that he'll eventually, like, he'll close. And he does. So
I'm definitely gonna, I think, move ahead with the coaching, like you said.
and you can tell in his voice here that he's a little bit uncomfortable, which is okay. Like, it makes sense. Like, if you're buying something $4,000, you're not going to be totally sane and totally just calm, cool, collected. At least most people aren't, unless you have like a lot of money. And so everything that he's doing here, like, I totally get it, and I'm empathetic because I understand where he's coming from with this.
I feel like I just need to take action and just start. Because I've been waiting for a while. I'm just ready to get started. So
Yeah, man, for sure. And just like off the record, totally off the record, what do you think is really holding you back? Is it maybe just like a little bit of nerves or like fear?
yeah, I would say like fear of just like it failing. I mean, I know failure like it's necessary in the process to grow. But you also just don't want to like throw money out there and
Yeah,
just fear not getting that back. But yeah, I mean,
no, man, like I totally get where you're coming from, and I'd even say this: if you weren't at least a little bit nervous, you probably.
So now I'm about to give him reassurance, and this is very powerful if you do this. Because the reality is, if they're nervous, like, that's a good thing. Because if he wasn't nervous, or if he wasn't at least a little bit scared that it wouldn't work, he would probably spend the $4,000 and he wouldn't do jack shit in the program. And he probably wouldn't see results because he wouldn't take it serious. And so him having nerves is literally a direct correlation that there's some weight to it or there's some meaning to it, and that he's actually going to take it serious. And the reality is that nothing ever great was built in this world by somebody who wasn't at least a little bit nervous or a little bit fearful at first. So
I don't know. You might be insane.
yeah,
or from an, I'd even say this: if you weren't at least a little bit nervous, you probably, I don't know. You might be insane.
yeah,
Or you might have too much money to the point where if you spend it, you'd be like uncommitted about it. So
yeah.
Real quick, like the way in which we make.
So now what I'm going to do is, I understand that it's literally just like a little bit of nerves of getting started. So I'm going to try to coach him through, and I'm actually going to coach him, give him some mindset stuff for why it's good. So yeah, this will be good.
Decisions dictates everything in our life. Like there's plenty of self-made millionaires in the United States that are your exact age that actually maybe started in a worse position than you. And then the same on the opposite side. There's plenty of people your age right now that started off in a better position than you when you were like growing up and are like homeless now.
Yeah.
So while I totally understand that, you have a way of making decisions that makes you comfortable, I also want to realign you, and you should know this because, you work out. Growth can never really happen in our comfort zone.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you
definitely know that too well.
Yeah. You can't rely on like the same way of making decisions that got you to where you are now to get you to the next level. Right.
Yeah.
So like the issue isn't how you used to make decisions before. The real question is, who are you going to be and how are you going to make decisions moving forward? Because that's what's going to determine the results you get in this life. So it's like, do you want to be the type of person that continues to expect the same pattern of decision making to get them different results? Because I'd call that insane.
Yeah.
Or do you want to be the type of person that knows like, hey, I should do this. The decision is right. You can make that uncomfortable decision that actually most people aren't willing to make. And therefore you get results that most people do not have. Which one of those people do you want to be?
Definitely second one. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I give him two scenarios. I said, do you want to be the type of person that shies away in the presence of uncomfortability, and basically because of that uncomfortness, you don't pursue your goals and your dreams? Or do you want to be the type of person that when you know something is right, even if it's uncomfortable, you do it anyways? Which one of those people do you want to be? And he's like, yeah, I definitely want to be the first one. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, let's get started then. Like, just because you're nervous doesn't mean we're not going to not do this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you ready to jump in or what?
Yeah, man. I think I am.
Sick. And do you want to do that through like credit, PayPal? We got a couple different options there in terms of processing it.
Let's see. Probably yeah, PayPal would probably work.
Okay.
I just have to transfer some funds.
Yeah, do you want to do that right now?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Cool. So he's like, he ends up moving stuff around from his PayPal, and then I think he ended up actually putting $500 down first, and then we collected the extra 3.5K like right after that, because PayPal like was having issues for him, so we had to stay on the call for an extra like 15 minutes or so to collect that payment. But basically, that's a live example of closing somebody for $4,000. And so in remote sales, there's two segments. If you're like not too familiar with remote sales, there's basically the first piece, which is appointment setting. So appointment setters, beginners tend to usually pick appointment setting where you go in and you were to set up this appointment. So you would be the person that talks back and forth with him in the DMs and gets him set up for this meeting. That is appointment setting. Usually you get paid 5% commission. And so if you set up this appointment, you make a quick $200 right there. The closer, though, is the person that actually jumps on this meeting. And so I, in this example, was a closer. I also did appointment setting, and I did both of them at the same time for a business. But closing is when you actually jump on the Zoom meeting and you're actually selling the person. And so for me, I was a closer. It was a little bit different because I was business partners with the guy I was working with. But as a traditional closer, you'd get paid anywhere from 10 to 15% of the money collected. And so it was $4,000, meaning as a closer, I would get paid $400 to about $600 right here on this call. And that's 1 hour at a time. And so in a really good business, you can have 2 or 3 of these calls every single day, and you can make a lot of money with that. And so that's just an example. Now, if you're a beginner and you're a little bit scared to like do Zoom meetings and stuff like that, like the best thing that you can do is you can start by doing appointment setting where you're in the DMs and you're behind the phone. This is what a lot of my students start with, but eventually you get to a certain point where you do that for 3-4 months maybe. You start making some decent money, you get some cash stored away, and you can transition into being a closer where it's a little bit harder, it's a little bit more awkward, takes a little bit more practice, but generally you can make more money. And as a byproduct of that, you can get to 10K per month a lot quicker. And then what's funny too is you take these exact skills that you're practicing every single day selling for someone else's business, and it directly correlates to if you eventually want to run your own business. And so this is why remote sales is the best business model for a beginner to start with, because you have entry level things where if you're somebody who's a little bit more introverted and socially awkward like I was when I first got started, you can start off with appointment setting, and you can do that until you're ready to go to being a remote closer, where you can start actually jumping on meetings with people, selling people on those meetings, selling for something 2, 3, 4, 5, 10K, and then getting a 10% commission off of that, and then doing that 2 to 3 times every single weekday. And you can see how that can stack up very quickly. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys got some insight on what it actually looks like to be a remote closer. Let me know if you guys would be interested in me helping more on the appointment side of things. I'd be more than happy to show you some examples of what it would look like to be an appointment setter, because I have sent over at least 100,000 DMs at this point, which is crazy to say, but it is true. And I've taken 1,100 sales calls. So yeah, hopefully you guys got some insight. Let me know if this helped. And if you guys are looking for one-on-one coaching where I will personally get you to the point where you can start making money in remote sales, I'm going to show you first how you can land your first position, either as an appointment setter or as a closer. And then also I'll coach you and I'll help you through the entire process of how do you actually execute your task the right way and do what you need to do so you can actually make more money inside of your position, right? And I'll coach you up. I'll watch your sales calls. I'll monitor your DMs so that you can do that to the best of your ability. And if you guys are interested in that, there's one-on-one coaching, and you can apply with the link in the description. But other than that, you guys take care and have a fantastic rest of your day.